sir. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion that we can reconvene for the joint public hearing with the Planning Commission, or the
Second.
public hearing.
May I?
Please.
It's not the joint public hearing.
I know. I apologize. Too much coffee.
I give him one job.
Reconvene for the public hearing.
Second?
I have a motion and second that we reconvene for a public hearing. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Good evening.
Good evening. I believe the county attorney will start us off.
There's one public hearing scheduled for this evening at 6:30. It was duly advertised, and the certificate of publication is made part of the record for this hearing. Citizens were invited to provide comment on any or all of the hearings after each presentation has concluded. The hearing may have a separate comment period following a brief presentation. Anyone here must sign in at the sign-up sheets next to the entry door if you wish to speak at the public comment. Those joining us virtually will be identified either by the last four digits of their phone number or by their screen name.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Jenny Plummer-Welker, Long Range Planner with Calvert County Planning and Zoning. I'm joined this evening by Mary Beth Cook, Director, Carolyn Sunderland, Deputy Director for Planning, and then also the other Long Range staff, Jessica Gattano and Lockwood, who greeted people at the front. The purpose of this public hearing is to receive comments regarding the proposed amendments to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan, which was adopted in August 2019. The proposed amendments would reduce or eliminate the future expansions for Huntingtown, Prince Frederick, Lusby, and Solomons. The Board of County Commissioners held 2 work sessions in June and directed staff to pursue amendments for those 4 town centers and decided to retain the future expansions for Dunkirk, Owings, and St. Leonard. Staff met with the Planning Commission in July to inform the Planning Commission of the board's directive, and then staff returned to the Planning Commission in August to seek the Planning Commission's direction to move forward with the proposed amendments. At that meeting, the Planning Commission directed staff to distribute the amendments to the state agencies and adjoining jurisdictions, to schedule a public hearing not less than 60 days from the notice. And then staff did that distribution and informed the agencies that it would not be before November 1st. On November 2nd, the Planning Commission held their public hearing. Long Range Planning staff has made presentations to the Calvert County Economic Development Advisory Committee and the Architecture Review Committees for Dunkirk, Huntingtown, Lusby, Prince Frederick, and Solomons, and sent our slideshow to St. Leonard and Owings. The Planning Commission held its public hearing on November 2nd in this very room, and at the conclusion of the testimony, the Planning Commission voted to close the record and then to find the proposed amendments consistent with the comprehensive plan and to accept the proposal and move it forward to the county commissioners. The Planning Commission's resolution states that the Planning Commission, quote, recommends that the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County adopt the proposed amendments to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan. You have the staff memorandum that you received in advance of the meeting. It includes the public hearing legal notice, the draft ordinance that would adopt the proposed amendments, and Exhibits A, which is the markup copy of the amendments, and Exhibit B, which is the clean copy, plus tonight's presentation slides. So at this point, I will begin the slideshow presentation. We'll follow that with public comments. People are invited to sign up if they have not already. The sign-up sheet is on the podium in the hearing room, and then staff's recommendation and the board's action. So we're holding the public meeting this evening, so that's number 1. At the conclusion of the public testimony, the board has 2 options. You can close the record or keep the record open for a set amount of time that you determine. Then to discuss the amendments and then take action. As I mentioned this morning, you can vote to approve the proposed amendments, to modify them, to send them back to the Planning Commission, or to reject the amendments. This is a map of the county with the town centers highlighted. I'd like to note that North Beach and Chesapeake Beach are considered town centers, but since they're municipalities with their own planning and zoning authority, the county commissioners do not have authority in what happens in the town centers. The other ones, move on to the next slide. The commissioners decided to keep Dunkirk, Owings, and St. Leonard as adopted with the expansion areas, and to change Huntingtown, Prince Frederick, Lusby, and Solomons. I will note with the comprehensive plan, the call for the future expansions, those expansions do not happen automatically. There's a whole process to expand the town centers through the master planning process and the zoning map amendment process. We'll go through these quickly since there's no changes. Dunkirk expands to the northwest to include Dunkirk District Park, and the northeast to include the Park and Ride parcel. Owings expands across Maryland 260, and St. Leonard expands to the southeast to include the St. Leonard Elementary School property. It also is consistent with the recommendation of the St. Leonard Master Plan that was updated and adopted in 2013. Moving on, this is where we move into the changes. Huntingtown, in the adopted plan, the map on the left is a close-up from the plan. Huntingtown would no longer be expanded to the east, so the area in the hatch green would be removed from the expansion area. So Huntingtown would stay on the west side of Maryland 2-4. There'd be some minor adjustments to follow property boundaries. Prince Frederick, this is a close-up of the map from the comprehensive plan. And then on the left is also a map from the comprehensive plan showing in the dark purple the current town center plus phase 1 expansion, which was zoning that was employment center around the town or residential. And then the light purple, which would expand it out to the Stafford Road area. And then area to the southeast, which is between 765 and Maryland 2-4. The map on the right is the proposed map that reduces the expansion area. The light purple is the area that's immediately adjacent to the town center. Then also some adjustments to property boundaries, to follow the property boundaries. On this map, it shows the close-up from the comprehensive plan on the left with Lusby and Solomons, and the hatched area showing the potential future expansion area between those two. On the right, the green hatched area are the areas that are proposed to be removed from the future expansion. So that includes the area between Solomons and Lusby Town Centers, and then also the east side of the Dow Peninsula that's currently not in the town center. That would be removed from the future expansion area. The area on the north side of Lusby would be retained for future expansion, and that includes Patuxent Business Park, the Park and Ride, and the storage area. So it's that area between 765 and Maryland 2-4. This is a table that shows the parts of the comprehensive plan that have proposed amendments. It includes the executive summary, the table of contents, Chapter 3, and Chapter 7. This is the adopted map. This is the proposed map, so it shows the reduction of the town center areas, the purple areas, and then to make up what was purple, areas have been either residential or industrial. This is the current Prince Frederick map in the plan. This is the proposed map that would replace it, that would reduce that area to take away phase 2. There'd no longer be phase 1 and phase 2. It would just be the expansion area, which is the light purple. That concludes staff's presentation. At this point, I believe it's time for public comment. Thank you, Ms. Judy.
The floor has been open for public comment. Those in attendance here today will be offered the first opportunity to speak. Those who are joining us virtually, and there is one, please press *9 or use the raise your hand function if you wish to provide comment after those in attendance have provided theirs.
Thank you. Our first speaker is Ron Clauda, followed by Greg Bowen. And I believe Ms. Sunderland is timing.
Good evening, Commissioners. Word on the street is that one of you is having a birthday today, so happy birthday, Commissioner Hart.
And soon to be Todd Ireland as well.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Ron Clauda. I live at 1401 Foxtail Lane in Prince Frederick, and I guess I've been a resident of our Pleasant Peninsula for over 40 years now. I serve on the board of directors of the American Chestnut Land Trust, and I am speaking on its behalf here tonight. American Chestnut Land Trust owns over 1,600 acres in the Parkers Creek watershed, just a little south and east of here. And we have more than 700 member families that are part of our group from all over Calvert County. ACLT is very grateful for you county commissioners who initiated the changes that we're talking about here tonight. Changes to the 2019 comprehensive plan that will stop the expansions of the Prince Frederick Town Center Phase 2, Huntingtown, Lusby, and Solomon's Town Centers expansion. You clearly recognize the implications of these expansions on our roads, other county infrastructure, and the environment. Now, we know you've also heard from many county residents, your constituents, who have not really wanted any proposed town center expansions right from the beginning when the whole comp plan update process started. ACLT has specifically expressed concerns about the adverse impacts on county streams, wetlands, and steep slopes. So we hope that you'll follow through with your initiative that was started a few months ago, adopt these proposed changes to the comprehensive plans that is subject of this public hearing, and I thank you very much.
Next speaker is Greg Bowen, followed by Frank McPhillips.
My name is Greg Bowen. I live at 1235 Mallard Point Road, and I'm a member of the Institute of Certified Planners. My thanks to the commissioners for this night. During the preparation of the plan, consultants heard loud and clear that rural lands at Chesapeake and waterways were the things that citizens most loved about Calvert County. Check out page 5-6. Traffic congestion was one of the biggest concerns. On page 7.3 of the plan, the authors acknowledge that congestion caused by commuters typically occurred through Prince Frederick, Huntingtown, Dunkirk, and Solomons at the Thomas Johnson Bridge. And yet the consultants eliminated a build-out limit and initiated an expansion of town centers and residential zonings that could add up to 28,000 more households, an 80% increase by 2040, as soon as 2040, to a highway that cannot handle all those cars. Yes, that's on page 14 of the transportation plan. Through the whole comprehensive planning process, controversial transportation plan process, consultants never came up with a feasible plan to address daily traffic congestion or, God forbid, an emergency evacuation. And that was before all the additional households. The comprehensive plan is the county's most important policy document, but it does not implement itself. In abundant sections of the plan, it suggests that zoning, planning, and infrastructure changes. But it also notes in many places that the public will have its say before the policy suggestions are put in place. That statement is on pages 319 through 322. Well, the commissioners have heard what people have had to say, and for these and other reasons, eliminating the expansions is consistent with the 2019 comprehensive plan, and the changes should be made. Thank you, commissioners.
Frank McPhillips, followed by Joseph Cormier.
Commissioners, my name is Frank McPhillips, 1611 Meadow Oaks Lane in Huntingtown. I'm representing the Friends of Hunting Creek. The Friends of Hunting Creek support the proposed amendments to the 2019 Comprehensive Plan, which will reduce or eliminate the expansion of several town centers in Calvert County. My comments were largely focused on Prince Frederick, given its impact on the Hunting Creek watershed, but our concerns go well beyond here. From the beginning of the proposed expansion of the Prince Frederick Town Center, the citizens of the county who live or travel through here have clearly not been in favor of expanding the Prince Frederick Town Center and the high-density development it will allow. While the development was consistent with a strategy to concentrate growth in the town centers, there was not adequate consideration for the infrastructure to support that growth, such as roads to support the increased traffic and the water treatment to deal with the increased sewage. There have also not been clear benefits for those who already live in Prince Frederick and the county. There have been a demand for a long time for affordable housing, but the recent apartment complexes, townhomes, and so forth that we've seen along Prince Frederick Boulevard and the soon-to-be Magnolia Ridge and other planned developments nearby do not really fit that bill. And the bulk of the businesses that have been attracted to the area are not really major employers and largely do not contribute to local revenue. They're generally retail or fast food and mostly accessed off the main arterial that is Route 4, which has made traffic only worse. And it's also well known that the fees and taxes that dwelling units contribute to revenues do not equal the services consumed by their residents. The shortfall has been estimated by county staff to average about $2,000 a year, depending on the type of dwelling unit. That is not growth paying its own way. There are also serious environmental concerns related to the lands of the proposed town center expansion. The bulk of the properties are not rated as recommended for even light development by the USDA Soil Survey. The nature of our Pleasant Peninsula, as our friend Ron mentioned, is such that we have many steep slopes with sandy soils that lead to severe erosion on our land in our county and even under normal circumstances. And sadly, there aren't sufficient resources amongst the county and the state to hold developers accountable for the damage that they can inflict when they fail to manage erosion when grading and preparing lots for development. And there's little to no recourse for pursuing the matter with the property owners after build out. The relative handful of the staff, to enforce all of this versus the square mileage that they must cover makes it nearly impossible. And the poorly managed stormwater that washes out our highly erodible soil into the watershed, along with the pollutants of various types, all makes its way into the bay, impacting its health. So growing Prince Frederick Town Center, and really any new development in the county, without taking important preceding steps of managing stormwater consistently, is only going to accelerate the decline of our most precious resource, the beauty of the land and the water that surround us. In sum, we request that the county commissioners support the proposed amendments to the comp plan regarding the reduction of the town center expansions. We also ask that the county seriously consider evaluating future planned growth with greater consideration of the lasting negative impacts that may come along with it, alongside any perceived benefits. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joseph Cormier, followed by Susan DeZurek.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Joseph Cormier. I'm at 920 Sam Owings Place in Owings, Maryland. I first want to thank you for having an evening meeting. It's great to see a room full of other county people here to voice their things. It gets kind of lonely with just me and Bob on a Tuesday meeting at 10 o'clock. As far as this plan to push everything back, I agree with it. I would just say about the Huntingtown, not including Huntingtown High School in that plan, I don't agree with, because as you say, Commissioner Hart, every time somebody has to touch a pen or a piece of paper, it costs us money. If we can include them in the town center to keep us from having to apply for a waiver later, then that's one less piece of paper we have to pay for someone to push. But otherwise, my wife grew up here. I've a recent transplant of the last 8 years. It's a beautiful county, and I love all the country in it. Thank you so much.
Susan DeZurek.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Susan DeZurek. I live at 4215 Weeping Willow Lane in Huntingtown. Tonight I'm speaking as the representative of Keep Calvert Country Grow Responsibly. Commissioners, today is Giving Tuesday. This evening, through the decisions you make and the votes that you cast, you will have the opportunity to give future generations of Calvert County residents the gift of a better life. Members of KCC applaud the changes you will be making by removing the expansions of the 4 town centers from the comprehensive plan. Commissioner Hance, on at least 2 occasions, you have longingly shared with me what life was like as you were growing up in Calvert County. Sadly, those days are gone. Commissioner Hart, you share often about your children growing up and playing ball here in the county. At this very moment, the future of the county is in your hands. What kind of life will you leave for future generations of Calvert based on your decisions tonight? Members of Keep Calvert Country Grow Responsibly ask that you remove the expansions as you have proposed. Thank you.
That's the last speaker who signed up.
No one has raised their hand virtually, so the board's in a position to act if you wish to.
Questions? Discussion? Motions?
Mr. President, it'd be my honor and privilege to make the motion that we close the record and approve and adopt the ordinance enacting the changes to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan as recommended.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second that we close the record, approve and adopt the ordinance enacting changes to the Calvert County Comprehensive Plan as recommended. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
That concludes.
That concludes this hearing.
We would ask the board to recess until the 7 o'clock joint public hearing.
Motion to recess.
Second.
A motion and a second that we recess until the 7 o'clock public hearing. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. So we are in recess.